Welcome back to Last Night I Watched. I'm your host, Carlos. I got my buddy Mark over here. What's up, Mark?
Not much. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. And I got over here Ian. How's it going, Ian?
Good. Good to see you guys as always.
Yes, sir.
Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful morning.
Yep.
And today we are going to be watching Toby Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Let's jump into it.
Sally, I hear something. Stop! Stop!
This is the movie that is just as real, just as close, just as terrifying as being there. Even if one of them survives, what will be left? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. After you stop screaming, you'll start talking about it.
So, Mark, what was your thoughts on this one?
Ooh, I'm not a big fan of the Chainsaw Massacre series. I've watched it a couple of times. It's not my thing, man. Here's the thing. He wanted it to be PG so it could get to more people. They said, no, you're not making it PG because there's still icky stuff in it that PG doesn't cover. Back in the day, during that time, they didn't have PG-13, so they slapped an R on it. So with me, it's kind of straddling those two worlds still. If they were going to make him do an R, then make it an R movie. And I guess I'm kind of conditioned now where I like, blood and gore and that kind of stuff. But if you want PG, you guys, you just got to really, really, I don't know, as far as slasher movies are concerned, you really got to dumb it down. And you can't do that. You want to have fun with it, and you still want to make it a slasher movie. They wouldn't let him be a PG slasher movie, so just go for it. So I think that was my biggest problem with it. There were some scenes that were too long, just kind of nitpicking kind of stuff. Overall, I just wasn't a big fan of it. So I know there are people out there that are probably going to want my head for that, but
Hey, fuck 'em.
Is this your first watch through, or have you seen it before?
I'd seen it before. I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah. And I don't know. I saw it, a couple of decades ago, I guess. And I don't know. I was just kind of hoping that with time I would get to appreciate it more and that kind of thing. And dudes, I just don't. So
That's all right.
That's that.
Nice. Nice.
Well, what'd you think about it, Ian?
Well, I was very, very happy and thankful that you chose this because this is one of my favorite movies ever. I really like this movie. And, yeah, it's, I don't even know where to begin. It's funny because it's probably a total 180 from what Mark just said. I guess, so since it's what Mark just said is fresh in my mind, I guess I'll go here. So I think with gore and blood and guts, I like that a lot too. Like Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite movies that has a shitload of blood and guts. I'm trying to think of another one. That's the first one that comes to mind, and that movie that just works so well for that movie. I think this movie doesn't really need gore because everything else in it to me is just so effective. It's uncomfortable and disgusting in senses of imagery. I think the first thing we see in the movie after the picture when we see like the brief glimpses of like skeletal hands and everything, we see this I don't even know what you want to call it. It's like a sculpture of decayed bodies in the heat, and it's just so disgusting. And I think that stuff like that in this movie are why this movie is just so horrific and grotesque. I think the only time we ever really see gore, like real like gore, is when spoiler alert, but Leatherface kills Franklin in the wheelchair. We see some blood, and that's really about it. I mean, aside from the hitchhiker cutting his hand and cutting Franklin, and when they're cutting Sally's fingers, you know, there's not much blood. And in our Lost Halloween episode, we kind of talked about the same thing. There's not really that much blood in the first Halloween movie either. I think this is before blood and gore kind of took the forefront.
I guess I didn't really notice it until you pointed it out.
Right.
But when he's like bashing their heads in with the hammers, it almost cuts away, I guess you could say.
At the dinner scene?
Well, when he bashes the first victim's head
right,
in,
okay,
when he
yes,
bashes
yeah,
his
yeah.
head,
And
like,
again,
it doesn't like zoom into their skulls as the
Yes.
hammer's going in.
And I think what's so great about that is not the act of bashing someone's skull with a hammer. It's the guy starts twitching and convulsing, and that's the part that's just so like, oh god, it just looks real. That looks like something that would happen to someone if some 300-pound maniac hits you in the head with, and that's just so he just drags him in and just slams the metal door shut. It's just like that guy just entered like the 7th layer of hell. Like, it's just so spooky. So
I think that's actually foreshadowed in the beginning when they're talking about the slaughterhouses
right
that Franklin's dad used to work at.
Yeah,
They said, yeah, back in the day we used the hammer, and maybe it didn't get the job done.
Yeah,
on the first
I
try.
like it. They say, no, the old way was better. Yeah, no. The new way, put people out of jobs. Yeah, no, the old way was better. I'll stop talking. I've talked enough. Carlos, what did you think of it? Sorry.
This is my first watch through of the classic 1974 movie. I liked it. I liked it a bit better than I liked the original Halloween when we reviewed that one.
Right on.
Even though we didn't have that awesome John Carpenter score in this one, that doesn't really matter because this one had great visuals. First one comes to mind is like one that's always referenced, the ending when he's in the sunset just waving his chainsaw around. That was cool to see that actually.
Iconic, man.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movie moments ever.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the other one I'm thinking is when she gets out of the swing set to go see what her boyfriend's doing in the house, and it has the red shorts with the big house in the background. That one. And then of course, you know, Leatherface is like slamming the door, but behind him he has like all those heads on the wall, and red is happening all behind him. Gorgeous shots.
Yeah.
The characters, I like the characters in this one. Even what's his name in the wheelchair? Franklin.
Yeah.
I even liked him. He seemed like a little annoying, but like when you're stuck in a wheelchair, aren't you gonna be a little annoying and want to hang out with your buds?
And he's not having a good day. He goes on the side of the road to piss. He falls down the hill. I call it when we're watching. I call it, it's like a jackass stunt or something.
Yeah.
He gets cut by some maniac that they picked off the side of the road.
Yeah.
He's not having that great of a day, you know? And everyone's like, oh, hey, we want to go out and swim. Do you know where, you know? He's just kind of, he's just kind of stuck. And I understand why he's kind of acting like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then he goes into the old rickety house and he starts laughing.
Yeah, like mocking them, you know,
Yeah.
having a good time. And he's stuck downstairs, yeah.
That was in the trailer too, and I like that part.
Yeah. Come on, Franklin. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts to spit in the raspberries, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just get straight into the killings. He starts immediately bashing people's heads in. Another thing I like is the clothing in this movie. We got Disco Stew with his afro.
When you said that, I've never thought of that, and that's the perfect. I think that character's name is Jerry. They're like, I think it is because when he walks out, they go Jerry.
Right.
Played by Ellen Danziger.
Yeah, dude, that's the perfect compare. He looks just like Disco Stew, and I never thought of that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and
The blonde's got these huge bell bottoms on.
That's right. Yeah.
I actually really liked her as the last girl.
Yeah, I like Sally a lot. She's one of the best final girls in horror movie history, in my opinion.
I liked her better than
Jamie Lee
Halloween.
Curtis.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis.
I can see that. Yeah, respect that.
Yeah, overall it was a good movie though. It gave me the creeps towards the end when she's getting chased by the by Leatherface through the fields. I was like tensed up and biting my nails and everything.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty effective.
Yeah.
To this day. Oh God! And then the kitchen scene where they bring out Grandpa. I was squirming when they stuck her fingers in Grandpa's mouth.
Grandpa's the best at killing or whatever. Let's get Grandpa to do it. You said he was the best, right? Oh, he's the best.
They couldn't get the fake knife to squirt out blood.
Oh.
Yeah,
So they actually cut her finger.
What?
And stuck
I
it in
didn't.
his mouth.
Wow. Yeah, I heard Gunnar Hansen say that in the commentary that the tube kept clogging for the blood.
Oh my!
I didn't know they actually cut her though. God
Yeah.
damn.
They got tired of messing with us. They just cut it. And
That's
stuck it in there.
just insane. Wow.
Yeah, overall, good movie, guys.
I'm glad you liked it. I guess we can go back to you, Mark. Is there anything anything else that stands out to you in this movie, or maybe good or bad?
I thought there were a few of the scenes that were too long.
That's one thing you told me at work, and then before I watched it, and I noticed that immediately.
The dinner scene, it was horribly long, and no, that should not have happened. As long as it was, cut it in half.
Yeah.
And the chase scenes, I guess, because they went out there twice. When they're going through the woods, it turns out that the blonde could not run that fast. And so Leatherface, he had to keep slowing down. He had to stop and cut branches with a chainsaw to give her a chance to get further ahead of him. And that's really not anything wrong with the movie. I just thought that was kind of different.
I heard that about the end. Like Gunnar Hansen kept catching her in the truck. That they had to film that a few times too, because he kept catching her before she was able to get in the back of the pickup truck.
And you can tell the hitchhiker kid when they were running down the driveway. You know, he was kind of just flopping around behind her, trying to not catch her.
Yeah, right.
So
that one stuck out to me too, the most.
And I didn't like her scream and her yelling. I think she probably could have calmed that down a little bit. I mean, I realize that she's, in
a very fucked up situation.
She's in a very bad way, but. And I keep yelling at TVs. I keep yelling at the TV whenever I watch one of these kind of movies. It's like, shut up, shut up, shut up. Yeah. He can hear you,
That's true, yeah.
But I don't know what I would be doing in that situation. I might be screaming my head off and running into trees and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, just a couple of those scenes. And I want to ask you while I'm thinking about it, the blonde-haired guy with the glasses.
Disco Stu?
I don't know. He was the driver of the van.
Yeah, Disco Stu. Okay. He's more brown-haired, I'd say, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, he goes in, he goes downstairs, he opens the freezer, that kind of thing. Leatherface smacks him in the head with a hammer. He drops. That's the last we've seen of him. Mm-hmm. Leatherface is looking around for him. He sits down, all concerned that he can't find this dude. Where did he go?
No. I think he just falls to the ground, and I think Leatherface is looking. I think he's just so freaked out. He's like, where the hell are all these people coming from? Why do they keep coming in my house? Why do you keep having to... Leatherface is like a frightened animal, almost. Yeah. That's the best way. That's why he just sits down. He's just kind of like hitting his head and just like, so like, he's just like, what the fuck is going on right now? Why are these people coming into our house? I don't think he's really... I think he's looking for, are there more people in here too? Like, what the hell's going on? I think that's what it was.
That makes sense. All right.
He checks the front window to see if anybody else is coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Which that house is so disgusting. When Pam, or I think the non-Sally character, when she goes in, she falls and there's just feathers everywhere and there's a chicken in a bird cage, and that one, I guess you call it a chair or a bench, and it's made out of like skull, like a skull. There's like a skull, and it's all skeletal.
Yeah, it's actually got arms for arms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That scene stood out to me when Mark was saying that some scenes drag on a little too long, because she's like, Pam looks up after she falls and she's looking at every single thing in that room, and the camera makes sure to show you even like nuts and bolts on the table. It shows you some bones. It shows you a little bit of the chicken maybe in the cage. Yep. Ooh, let's look over here. And I was like checking my watch. I was like, oh man, we're really looking at this whole thing. I'd be getting the heck out of there.
Yeah.
And all those feathers in there.
Yeah.
That sucker's been in there a while molting,
Yeah, like, gross.
It was pretty gross.
Yeah. I agree with you about that scene. Absolutely love the scene where she got off the swing and she's walking.
Yeah,
and
that's one of that might be the best shot in the movie.
It's on the house is just white and and you've got the blue sky and it's just and then you start to think it's like this family and what it looks like on the inside. How is it so beautiful on the outside?
I know, yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's maybe a comment on the nuclear family of how many families present themselves to be so perfect and pristine, and then behind closed doors there's dysfunction and just
cannibalism.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
You were talking about how we were talking about the wheelchair guy.
Yeah,
and how he acted, that kind of stuff. And I guess he was a method actor.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so he stayed in character this whole time, and they grew to hate him.
Yes. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like. Do you like that character? I know, Carlos, you said you liked him, and I think I like him. I'd say if on like or not like, I'd say I do like the character. Do you like him, Mark?
No.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of people say they can't stand him, and I get it.
Definitely.
He is kind of annoying.
Well, I've never seen a wheelchair character in a horror movie either. Not that I could think of, at least.
Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2.
It was a Part 2.
He gets a machete to the face. That's a great kill.
God.
Yeah.
I think the thing that did me in with him was when he was fighting with his sister about the flashlight. And you go ahead. I'll be able to keep up. And then they don't even get past the van. I don't think. And he's like, "Wait up for me! Come on, wait up for me! I need help! Wait up!" And then she ends up, pushing him. And and you just think that the actress went through hell.
Yeah,
all of them did.
Yeah,
and and even not knowing that, you look at this and. She went through hell, the character did, not even knowing the background of the movie, poor thing. She was already tired,
right,
pushing his big ass around,
right, yeah.
And all of a sudden hell breaks loose with, everything else. So
I watched this group on YouTube, and they did it years ago. I think it might have been for the 40th anniversary of the movie. I could be wrong. They did a watch along of the movie, and the whole time they're just making fun of that guy. The whole time they're just going, Sally, wait a minute, Sally, wait a minute. That's like the whole thing. It's really funny. Because, again, I can see why somebody would be like, God, just shut the fuck up, man. Jesus Christ. But it works for me. I don't know why. It just, for some reason, it works.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the same if he hadn't been in it. He does.
Yeah.
If nothing else, he adds a certain amount of pain in the ass.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I like Disco Stu's kind of fucking with the whole time. He's like, he's gonna find you, Franklin. I gave him your address, your zip code. He's gonna find you. He's gonna kill you. Yeah. Yeah. Thought that was funny.
And then he gets it pretty good, Franklin.
Yeah, that's probably because a lot of people when they think of this movie, they think of people just getting massacred by chainsaws, hence the title, in Texas, and that only happens to him.
Yeah,
that we see him carving up the first victim, the kind of guy in the blue shirt. We see when Pam's on the meat hook, which that's a great scene too. He's kind of going to town with him. You don't really see much, but yeah, Franklin's really the only one that gets it with a chainsaw. Yeah. What do you guys think of the narration that opens the movie and the text?
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
I do too.
I like the whole, they were saying that this movie was based on true events, this actually happened.
But it didn't, right?
No.
Okay.
That's a lot of it, the whole furniture, skin lampshades and the wearing a mask made of human flesh and all that. That's very Ed Gein, the serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, this never happened. Some people say that this movie has a lot to comment on the political climate at the time with Vietnam and Watergate and how we were being lied to, and that's why they said that. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, I always thought that was really funny. Just, oh yeah, they've done it with other movies. Like they kind of did that with the Blair Witch Project.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And I just find that so funny. I think it's just to kind of, put more butts in seats. Maybe it's like, yeah, this actually happened.
It's fun to think about too.
Yeah, I just like the way it's read. Like had they lived very, very long lives, they never could have experienced what happened on that fateful day. Like it's just very, it's almost like a documentary or something. It's just very, very cool. There's this guy, his name is Mark Borchardt. He was I don't know if he still makes films, but they made a documentary about him in the 90s called American Movie. It's really great. And they ask him what his favorite movies are. And I think he goes Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And when he's talking about why he likes the Texas Chainsaw Massacre so much, he goes, it just kind of, he's from Wisconsin, so he's got like a Midwestern, he's like, it just kind of seems like one of those, documentary health films they'd show you in science class or something. It's like almost like you're not really supposed to be watching it. It's really crazy, man. And I agree. Like it does have like that. Maybe it's because they shot it on 16 millimeter, and documentaries at that time were predominantly shot, or like health films were shot on 16 millimeter because it was cheaper. I think that lends kind of that feel to it, like the grungy, gritty, dirty, grainy look to the movie, which helps out so much to me. And yeah, I completely agree. It's almost like we're watching something that almost we shouldn't be watching.
Especially with that hitchhiker scene.
Yeah.
Because it's drawn on for so long, too.
I wanted to point out, too, the shot when they pick him up, and it's just like you see so much sky, and it kind of, the van goes along this, like the screen kind of. They stop, he runs, picks him up, and then they go off screen. I think that's a great shot.
Little Miss Sunshine vibes.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's a great shot. And it is a beautiful Texas sky, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Sky. Now, there's no references to spiders in this movie, but for some reason...
there's a scene of, like, a bunch of daddy longlegs in, like, a corner.
That's right!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, in their old house
that
their family used to live in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, anyway, I was going to say that Leatherface kind of gives the vibes of, like, one of those trapdoor spiders where he just hops out and grabs you really quick.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all I could think about when I was watching, like, the first kill. He, like, just pops out of his room, gives him a quick bash on the head, and he starts wiggling, pulls him in, shuts the door.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the second girl in the red shorts, Pam, he actually literally, like, jumps out and grabs her out of the door, which is a great scene too, when it shows the front porch and she's trying to bust out and she's screaming.
Yes, she almost makes it too, and she wasn't quick enough.
And just the sheer size of Leatherface compared to Pam, and he's picking her up like no problem and pulling her back in like a spider would back into his hole.
Yeah.
But
he puts her on the meat hook. I like that a lot. People have told Toby Hooper and Gunnar Hansen and everybody involved in this movie, telling them how this was the most violent movie ever made and how awful it was to see the meat hook go into her back, and then you don't see it. You don't see it. And people, they say it on the commentary. People for years would tell them, like, like, how did you do that? How did you make the effect of the meat hook going into her back? And they're like, we didn't do that. That's not in the movie. But people swear to them that they saw it. It's very strange.
Yeah. I don't even think it makes a sound, does it? Yeah, because I was waiting to hear like a or something.
Yeah. She's just on it, and she's trying to like kind of like pull herself up from it to maybe not go into her back as much. And yeah, it's a doozy of a scene for sure. Yeah. It's a pretty, and she's not even dead. He puts her in the fridge, and she's still not dead. It's like
that was her in the freezer. It didn't look like her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he hears her kind of rumbling around in there, and he opens the freezer, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah. There's some influence. Did you guys play the newest Resident Evil games?
No.
I think the brand new one that came out, Village, one of the ladies, she actually takes you and puts you on a big meat hook, and you have to kind of just sit there and watch her monologue and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Or the one right before that, Resident Evil, oh man, I can't remember, but you're just in a single house getting chased around by one big lumbering dude, and at a certain point you get captured in the story, and you're all sitting around a table with these creepy looking people, and they're all like laughing at you and trying to feed you and stuff. And it reminds me a lot of the table scene from this one.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah. So this movie didn't just influence like horror filmmakers that came after it in like the 80s and 90s, but it influences like video games to this day.
Yeah,
it's pretty incredible seeing that.
Definitely. So one thing that I thought was cool, Carlos, when we were watching this scene where they stop to try to get gas, you didn't know that the gas station dude was part of the family.
Yeah, I think he's just called the old man in the credits,
Okay.
but it's played by Jim Seedow.
Yeah, I always call him the cook because that's what the hitchhiker and Leatherface kind of, or the hitchhiker's like, you're just the cook. Leatherface and I do all the killing. You're just the cook.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, but they probably do credit him just as like the old man.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that he was a bad guy or anything. He's just hanging out with his car wash guy, and I think Mark said that was his favorite.
He's like, yeah.
But another thing about that scene too is you almost get the impression that he is trying to talk them out of going to his house.
Yeah.
You know, don't go to strange houses.
Point. That's a great point.
Don't wander around.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
You know.
He's like, well, my father owned that house. Oh, that's your daddy's place, huh? Yeah, you're right. He does. He's kind of like the well, I don't know what you would call that in like a literature sense, but like the warner. Yeah, it's like, you know. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's so ironic because he's kind of warning them, that's my house, and I don't know if he's supposed to be their dad or their brother. In the commentary, Toby Hooper made it sound like they're all supposed to be brothers.
Oh.
Yeah,
But,
I think they're brothers.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what a family.
But he did offer him some barbecue.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, gross. Not gonna when Franklin's eating, I don't know what it is, a sausage. It looks dangerously similar to a penis.
Yeah.
It's hanging out of his mouth. It looks like there's a penis hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I didn't
saw
think
that.
nothing. I didn't think nothing of it until later on. You find out they're cannibals, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Franklin, Franklin,
Yeah.
what were you eating?"
Yeah, it might have been an actual penis. Who knows? And he's looking at the blood sign that the hitchhiker, which I'm like, there's theories about that. Some people think the reason why he did that was to find them later. But then again, it's like, how many vans, that exact van, are driving around?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm thinking he was just being crazy and just wiping his blood on the van. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I didn't really think about it one way or another. I mean, you know, looking back at it, yeah, it kind of looks like something. But
It just doesn't really come back again, though, and that's why I think it maybe just he was just in the moment, just like, I'm gonna wipe my blood on your van. It's real good. Yeah, real good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is this family going to be on the ball enough anyway to start marking vehicles?
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, they rob graves. That's the thing. We kind of are led to, as the movie goes on, they're the ones that made that, probably specifically the hitchhiker, made that sculpture of cadavers in the graveyard, and they're the ones that have been kind of they're like ghouls. They've been grave robbing, and I don't know what their methods, the methods to their madness are. Maybe they don't even know. They're just so, you know, fucking nuts.
Well, I got kind of an Ed Gein feel at the beginning too, because he got most of his stuff from graves.
Right.
He only killed
Right.
a couple of people.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
So,
yeah.
but he said his biggest influence was when he was in that hardware store.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, and just looking at the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanting to get through the Christmas.
Yeah. It's so cool. Have you heard about that, Carlos?
No.
Toby Hooper said, like, he was was it a department store or something?
Yes.
And there's just I guess it was Christmas time, and there's just a bunch of people in there, and I guess maybe he was waiting in line or something. He's just like, God, can this like go any like faster? You know, I'm like, I'm just stuck in this, you know, room. And he's seeing a chainsaw. I don't know if someone was demonstrating how the chainsaw worked or what. Maybe just saw the chainsaw. He's just like, man, you know, I could probably do some damage to these people I'm standing around right now.
Oh my god.
And I think that's where the chainsaw came into play.
That's crazy.
And I think this movie, yeah, it introduced the chainsaw as a weapon, maybe in our culture in general.
Really?
At least in the pop culture.
The
Like, because
70s?
was there ever a chainsaw used before this as a weapon in movies or, you know, anything?
Well, when was Evil Dead 2?
That was like 15 years after this.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
after it.
dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't really think of it.
Me
When I think
neither.
of chainsaws, I think of Gears of War. I think of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, his hand as a chainsaw. Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching an interview with the director Toby Hooper, and they were asking him, how'd you do it? How'd you like revolutionize the movies? And he said, I just tried to break all the rules. So I wanted people to get more bang for their buck when they're coming into the theater. So if she's gonna jump out of one window, why can't I have her jump out of two? You know,
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah,
and she did.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Which I was also thinking, like, the dinner table scene, it loops. It almost feels like it loops a little bit in that one.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Where it'll show her eyes, and then it'll go back to them laughing, and it'll show that exact same deal again. And I was like, oh, okay. We're kinda, like Mark was saying, it lingers a little too long. Or they did it a couple times. I guess kind of the Sally chase scene goes on pretty long, too.
Right.
But he's able to reuse those. He doesn't reuse them, I guess, because she jumps from the first story and then jumps from the second story.
I think it's the other way around. She runs up, jumps out when Leatherface is chasing her. She runs up, and that's when we're introduced to the grandparents, which, oh God, like that's so fucked up. The grandfather looks like he shouldn't even be alive, and he is. I couldn't
believe that he was.
I know, it's so sick and depraved that he's still a functioning person.
Yeah.
And they just keep the grandmother around just cause. But yeah, I think that's when she jumps out the second story, and then after the dinner scene, she jumps out the first story window.
Yeah. But he is kind of breaking the rules by just reusing ideas and stuff and making stuff linger for longer.
Right.
And I definitely feel like the van scene in the very beginning with the hitchhiker, that one lingers a bit too long too, but it also just made me very uncomfortable too, and it kind of works.
I think that's the reason why. I think it was done on purpose for that very reason, because you're almost experiencing in the van how they are feeling right there, and you're kind of experiencing how Sally feels at the dinner scene. She's probably thinking, like, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? This is not, I'm stuck here forever. That's how we kind of feel, like, God, when's this going to end? It's true. Almost like we're put in her spot, and that's why I think I wouldn't change a fucking thing about that scene, and that's the reason why, is because I think we're supposed to feel how she feels.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I get from it, at least.
Yeah. Same with, like, the chainsaw chasing scene out in the woods. It lasts so long, it's like, wow. Like, I can't believe she's still outrunning this guy.
And I told you
this sucks.
At the aftermath of that, after she goes to the gas station, finds out that the cook is part of this crazy clan of cannibals. And they go back home, and then we see the hitchhiker, and he's all getting mad at the hitchhiker and kicking him around with the van headlights in the background. I thought that was cool. He goes up to the door, and he yells at the hitchhiker, "Look what your brother did to the door!" And that's my favorite line of the movie. So it's just like, that sounds like something that like a normal family would say if some kid, like, maybe like I don't know, fucking like accidentally fell, and maybe it's like a hollow core door, he, like, you know, busted the door or something. But no, in this family, it's because the I don't even know what you call Leatherface, the special one was chainsawing the door. Look what you ruined. Then he kind of gets pissed off about it. You ruined the door.
Well, I was in that interview that I was listening with Toby Hooper too. They were like, you kind of introduced I think it was black comedy, or maybe red comedy they called it.
Yeah.
And they referenced that exact scene you're saying.
Yeah, because he says that in the commentary too. It's like, you know, it's not comic relief, but at the same time, it almost kind of is, which is almost a kind of a redundant statement. It's just it's just so ridiculous, and what do you call it? Not far-fetched, but it's just, I'll just stay on ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's comical. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck is going on right now? These people are fucking, like, just the epitome of crazy people.
Yeah.
But you look at that one scene where she's walking toward the house. I mean, it is a really nice house.
Yeah.
So maybe he is upset about the door.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, God, now we gotta go buy another door, you fuck. God. Could you imagine if the police came into this house and saw this shit?
I just remembered it because you brought up how Sally goes back to the barbecue place and meets the old man there. That's the first time I've seen in a horror movie somebody get knocked out by a broom.
Yeah.
I've never seen a broom used as a weapon.
I was telling you, it's so great when he's driving to their house. He's just like poking her with the broom, just like it's like his form of entertainment. Just like he's poking her with the broom. It's just so great.
That was
like, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Yeah,
so funny. I also like what he says. Like he puts her in like a burlap sack, drags her into the car, and then he's about to leave. And then he remembers that he forgot to turn the lights off, so he goes and turns the light on. And comes back, he's like, "Oh, almost forgot to turn the lights off. Cost of electricity will put a man out of business or something." It's just so funny.
yeah.
It's like this is just a normal. It's just like this is normal to them. Like we forget, like maybe like we forget our keys or something. Like, oh, forgot my keys. Like, in his case, he forgets to turn the lights off while he's dragging a girl into his car to take back to his family to terrorize her. Anyway,
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah, we can talk about how much Toby Hooper pissed everybody off. Now I've read a couple of different places what the budget. I've read 140,000. I've read 91,000. I've read where the cast was supposed to get a back end of the movie, and it was years later that they got checks for $24 and all this crap.
Ooh. Oh, that sucks.
I've read where they got like $8,000 and they had to divide it up amongst them. It's just crazy, but I guess it took a long time for them to talk to Toby again and to be nice to him and that kind of thing. Plus the conditions that they were filming in. We're talking Texas, over 100-degree weather. The table scene, the dinner scene, it was 15 hours long. They were in there. It's hot. They're using real animal flesh in there and that kind of stuff to make it look authentic. And it was horrible. One of the reasons that they filmed so long in one stretch was the dude that played Grandpa. It took a while for them to put his makeup on, right, and he refused to do it again. So they had to film everything in one shot.
Whoa.
Well, not one shot necessarily, but took one day to do it, So
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That makes me think of the way that Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick did The Shining. He terrorized the lead
Shelley Duvall.
Yeah. And to get a real performance out of her, that she was actually scared.
Right.
And that makes great art. I know it's abuse of your actors and everything.
Well, it's not Toby Hooper's fault that it was 110 degrees outside.
That's true.
Yeah. That's just nature.
Yeah. I guess he wasn't antagonising them or anything.
Yeah.
Right. No.
To get a crazy reaction.
I think he could have. I mean, they filmed 7 days a week. I mean, maybe he could have let up on the schedule.
I read that they were doing that because all the equipment they rented, they had to get back at a certain time. So that's the reason why they had such a hectic schedule. Because back then it was incredibly low budget.
But I feel like it gave a really good performance from all of them in this movie. And then if you go and look at the 2022 version, you'll see it's a pretty big difference. They look almost comfortable in the new
Sure
film. They were. You're covered in guts and you're supposed to be screaming, and you kind of just look relaxed about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if you were more stressed out and stuff, it would come off as more authentic.
Right. That's one thing why I don't really care for the remake. The remake, have you seen the remake?
Nope.
See, the remake...
2003?
Yes, 2003. It kind of kicked off the remake craze of the 2000s, because then right after we got Dawn of the Dead, we got The Fog, House of Wax, Halloween, Friday we got fucking everything you could think of they remade. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was kind of the catalyst of that. And it's not bad. Really, it's a better remake. I don't really care for it, and I think that might be one of the reasons why, is because it lacks that grit and human distress of this movie. It just feels like Jessica Biel is Jessica Biel's like a supermodel. These girls are pretty, but it's just you can tell that the remake's a Hollywood movie, and this is just random people in the backwoods of Texas making this, and I like that. It's just, you know, that kind of DIY sort of I don't know what you'd call it, punk rock element of it, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
So you prefer that over the original?
No, the other way around.
Okay.
The remake, to me, the biggest thing I can take out of it is just it's a little too clean.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Too Hollywood.
Yeah, too Hollywood, yeah. But it's not, it's way better than the Halloween remake, I'll give it that. You know, as much as I've only seen the Texas Chainsaw remake once, and that's probably enough for me. But it is better than other remakes, I'll say that.
So, Ian, did you have any favorite characters in this one?
It's probably Leatherface. He's, you know, he's really the star of the show. Did you guys notice that, like, he has, like, different outfits?
I did notice
I wanted to talk
that,
about that.
Yeah.
Like, at first, he's got, like, the tie on and the not overalls, like the apron. Mm-hmm. And then when they come back to the house later on when he's making dinner, he's got, like, a old woman wig on, and
yeah,
you know, when he's making dinner. And then later on at the dinner scene, he's got, like, a nice suit on with, like, makeup on the mask,
which makes it creepier
yeah.
too. It adds to the creepiness, because, like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, I think either in the commentary, Toby Hooper or Gunnar Hansen said that it's like his mask is his personality. Like, there's nothing underneath the mask. The mask is what represents Leatherface as a person.
Yeah,
which is a really neat concept.
Which
Great,
I heard.
Concept.
I heard that's why he's like, when they come home, he's in, like, his womanly looking one, because he wants to be more of a housemaker.
Yeah,
in a way.
Right. Yeah.
He wants to be domesticated.
Yeah.
And then for the dinner scene, he wants to dress up more nice and stuff.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think it adds a lot to the character.
My favorite, though, is just his initial, like, butcher outfit with the butcher apron.
I almost was thinking of
one.
bringing my NECA figures.
Oh, you have one of him?
I have one of him, yeah. It's pretty cool.
In the last Call of Duty Modern Warfare game, they had him as DLC, so I bought him for, like, $20.
Awesome. That's super cool.
He can run around the map with his hammer and bash people.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you guys?
Yeah, who was your favorite character, Mark?
I'm going to copycat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Leatherface.
When you think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you think of Leatherface. He's the Michael Myers of the franchise. He's the Freddy Krueger. You know, like, he is the icon of it. And yeah. And
he's got a purpose. Yeah. You know, he is a single-minded killing machine for the most part, but there's a purpose to it. You know, he's bringing home dinner.
Yeah.
Whether he's shooting a deer, smacking a cow in the head, or chainsawing a human, that's dinner.
Yeah,
you know. And and the masks, you know, the masks are really cool. The different ones he puts on depend on what his role is at that time. The fact that he can rein it back, you know, so he can be the host, you know, so it's like he's got different modes, you know. When he's in hunting mode, he's single-mindedly doing that. When he's in the mode where he's being the server or whatever the case may be, you know, he wants to be the best, you know, and I just think that's really cool.
I also like that he was sweet enough to try to help his grandpa murder that nice lady. He was like trying to put the hammer back in Grandpa's hand. All right, Grandpa, we got it this time.
It's so oh god. Again, it's just like, why is this guy alive? Why is this dude, like, you know, like when he's sucking. I didn't read. I watched on my Blu-ray. There's an interview with John Dugan. I think he said his name was. Mm-hmm. He said when he's sucking on Marilyn Burns' fingers for the blood, he kind of like mimicked like how infants suck on their mother's teat. Like they kind of like do this, kind of like they get into it, and I guess that's where his inspiration for that came from. Like, it's just so, it's like, oh man,
it was so creepy. That part was pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it's oh man, because when she runs up to see him, you think like he's dead.
Yeah, I thought he was just a corpse or a skeleton.
He's still alive. There's somehow, some way, the fucking guy's still alive. It's
pretty messed up.
Yeah,
but he's got a mask on, right?
No. I think that's how Grandpa looks.
I mean, because he's
like
smooth.
Is he like?
I think it's just the makeup. I think.
Oh, they're making him up.
No, the makeup. Well, are you talking about Leatherface or Grandpa?
Grandpa.
I think that's how he actually looks in the movie. Like, that's how we were supposed to look at Grandpa. It's makeup, obviously, but
he looks like a corpse.
Yeah.
All right, Carlos.
Favorite character. I think the one I'm gonna remember the most from this one is Franklin.
Okay.
In the wheelchair, because like I said, this is like the first time I've seen a wheelchair character in a horror movie. You guys pointed out that he's not. There's plenty, but he was like a very annoying character at the beginning, crying and whining. But I don't know. He's also like sitting there playing with his knife.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'd be like in the back of a van once in a while, just chilling out, putting my knife and flicking it around, cleaning my nails.
I think you were in the house. I like when I was telling Mark. I like when he's like, "What are you doing in the van, man?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I just started doing that." So somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I just started doing that." I think I said something that made him mad.
And then he gets out of the van. He's trying to figure out what all the blood's about. Does it mean anything? And then everybody's having fun upstairs in the old rickety house, so he has to do his little complaints. It's whining.
Yeah.
I liked Franklin. Yeah, he was a standout character for me.
Nice. One thing before I forget, Mark, you were saying there was problems with people getting paid for this movie, and people were pissed off at Toby Hooper for that. But it's for everything I've read about and heard them say is that was the people that distributed the movie or the production company. It was called Bryanston. Hold on a sec. Let me pull it up here. I just had it up. Here we go.
It was the production company?
Bryanston Distributing Company. It was it went bankrupt in 1976, and it was infamously known as it was the president and vice presidents were members of the Colombo crime family. It was basically run by the mob.
What?
And they screwed him. They screwed him out of a lot of money.
Oh my god!
It was like something. There's this whole thing, you can read about it online, and by the time that it was something like by the time they got all the court settlements done to like get their money, it went out of business and they went bankrupt, so they couldn't get anything. It distributed a decent amount of the ones that this list. They distributed John Carpenter's first movie, Dark Star, in 1974. They distributed the Bruce Lee movie, Return of the Dragon, Flesh for Frankenstein. That's an Andy Warhol produced movie. The Devil's Reign. It's a William Shatner movie.
Whoa.
Yeah, a lot of films. But that's what they distributed Deep Throat. That was like the first ever like mainstream porn movie that got shown in theaters.
Wow.
See, I heard that they used part of the proceeds from Deep Throat to finance this.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
that's pretty
because
cool.
it did very well.
Sense. Yeah. Deep Throat made a lot of money.
I think this one made a lot of money too, didn't it?
It did, and I don't think they saw any of it.
That's crazy.
New Line Cinema bought the rights to it in the early 80s, and that's like how more people I think saw it, which is probably for a good thing. But I just wanted to bring that up. It's I always thought it was just so funny. This movie was kind of like financed by the mob.
Let me throw this in real quick. They shot it in chronological order.
Right, I heard that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
You don't see that much.
Because that was for last week's movie, Mad Max 2. They shot it chronologically.
Right, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, same.
And it was banned in Germany for 25 years.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Whoa.
Finland for 20 years. The UK would not release it because it had chainsaw in the title.
Right. It was, I think, put on their infamous video nasty list. There was this thing they called the video nasties.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
And it wasn't released in Australia till the early 80s.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
And and I think it's all based on the title, because there's really not much in this movie. Really, it's just like the uncomfortableness. Really, the there's no sex at all. There's no nudity. Not that much violence. Yeah, and it's so funny how this movie was banned like that. Like it was like a snuff film or something. It's just so funny.
Now that you say that, that there's no sex in this one, I think that's why I like it a little bit better too.
Yeah.
You don't have to like have. I think Studio 666 was the most recent horror film I watched, and there's like a big sex scene where there's a big kill where a chainsaw comes out of the bed.
Right.
It's like, oh man, I gotta watch this sex scene.
I haven't seen it, but I could see that being in that movie.
Or even X.
Right.
X is just about sex.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plot of X. They're making a porno, so you gotta have sex in that. You know.
Sex sells.
Exactly.
Sex sells.
Yeah.
But they could sell this movie without having any of it in there, so
right.
It can work sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most horror movies now, they take showers. Right. I don't understand that. You know, there's hell going on around them, and they pop into the shower.
That's funny.
I think I would give this one another 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Like Mad Max 2. Very beautifully shot. I see why it is such a classic. And after listening to the director talk about it and how he tried to expand on horror and kind of create his own ideas, the thing that drags it away from being a full 5 out of 5 for me is the fact that he does reuse a lot of shots. That dinner scene, I feel like he almost directly loops a couple parts.
He might, yeah.
But like Ian was saying, it's for effect. It's so you're
that's
trapped
just
there
what I
with
got
her.
out of it. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's what I personally got out of that scene.
And then of course, like for some of the chase scenes, like you were saying with the hitchhiker just behind her the whole time, and he has to almost slow down.
Right.
Some of those dragged down a little bit, but other than that, it's a great movie. Beautiful movie.
I agree.
Yeah. Ian, what would you give it?
This is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
This is damn near a perfect movie. I'm gonna since I'm not articulated enough, or is that the word, or smart enough to come up with my own quotes. Jay Bauman of Red Letter Media tweeted when Toby Hooper died. He said, "Toby Hooper had a weird career, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre is still the strongest and purest piece of horror filmmaking ever made," and I 100% agree with that. Yeah, you know, it's just, unfortunately, Toby Hooper never really made any, like, probably the closest thing that came to something as great as this that most people would say is Poltergeist, and there's this big controversy that he didn't even direct it, Steven Spielberg did. If we ever talk about Poltergeist, well, I'll save that for then. But I do like a lot of Eaten Alive. We were watching the trailer for that. He did that relatively after this. I really like that movie. Another good one he did was The Fun House. That's a good movie. He's, you know, I would recommend, if people like this movie, I would recommend going in. He did the TV movie Salem's Lot, based off of the Stephen King book in the 70s. That's a really good TV movie.
He did the other one with John Carpenter for TV.
Body Bags. That's a good one too. I want to watch that one. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, and it kind of, unfortunately, he really didn't have that much of a career. He kind of got lumped into making kind of not so great movies later in his life, but at the same time, the guy made one of the greatest horror movies, I'd say, even movies in general, ever made. So, you know, he took that to his grave, which is cool. And 5 out of 5. This is great movie, and I'm very happy that you picked it.
Yeah. What do you give it, Mark?
Oh, dude.
How many chainsaws out of 5?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, after listening to you guys discuss it, you know, because, you know, Ian saw the more, I guess, for want of a better word, artsy side of it, whereas I kind of see it more from the bubble gum or popcorn side of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed my mind a little bit about it as far as just seeing the movie as a whole, and what I see now more what it has done for the horror genre, and so it's really hard for me to rate it. I would probably I'm going to go with a 3. And I feel, if before the podcast and listening to you guys talk before the, you know, I don't know what I just said. Before the podcast, listen to you guys talk and conversating and such, I would have 2 easily.
Okay.
But now learning more about it and what it's all about, and seeing beyond my popcorn vision, yeah, I'm bumping it up to a 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. And, I don't want to ever gaslight anybody into ever thinking, like, no, this is a good movie. How dare you? I never want to be like that, ever. That's one thing I kind of felt bad about. You were saying your opinion on Die Hard, and it's just like, like after I tell you everything, I was thinking about, I was like, just let him think about it. Don't try to correct him. Just let him think what he thinks about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I never want to be that person to, kind of manipulate you into thinking something aside from what you're actually thinking. But at the same time, that is really cool that, we had enough things to say to make you bump your rating up. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things since I've started doing this with you guys is obviously I didn't do it with Texas, but I'm starting to look at movies differently. As far as the shots,
Roman said that also, yeah.
Like the shot, I was just sitting there, watching the movie, and the shot of her walking to the house, I made a comment to my wife. It's like, that is a really beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Just the blue sky just popping out,
Yeah.
But then it gets filed away in the trash bin in my mind, and I don't give it another thought.
Right. Yeah.
And and then you guys kind of, bring that kind of stuff out of me, and it's like, I'm enjoying, I think, movies now more than, I have
Awesome.
basically all my life. So
Nice.
That's always good.
Yeah. Hopefully that's what people can get out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a 5, a 3, and a 4.
That's good.
12 out of 15. Hey,
it's another good one.
It's a good
We've
score.
been on a roll here. I think that's my second. I think the only other thing I gave 5 out of 5 was The Thing.
Well, thanks for reviewing Texas Chainsaw with me, guys.
Yeah, thank you again for
you're very welcome. It was awesome.
And if anybody actually listened to this all the way through and you're listening now, comment in the comment section and let us know what you thought of it as well.
Definitely.
I'd like to hear what you think.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and if you want to watch the movie, it's free on Tubi.
Yes.
tubi.com.
And if you liked it enough, go watch another Toby Hooper movie or go see X in theaters right now.
Ooh, yes. We recommend
support that.
X. Until next time, y'all.
Yeah, until next time.
Until next time.
Later.
See ya.